and welcome to episode 381 of the Awesome Comics Podcast, the place where the small press makes one hell of a big noise. I'm Vince Hunt, and joining me, as always, is the creator of the webcomic Vanguard, Dan Butcher.
Hello.
And some call him the Funky Gibbon. We call him Tony Esmond.
I think I might have that on single somewhere, in the garage.
Of course you do.
Yeah. The goodies, wasn't it? The goodies, wasn't it? That's right.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Yeah. You made me jump there because we were talking about how it was raining and then suddenly you just threw yourself into the intro. And I'm like, there we go. Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, the weather outside is frightful, but it's not Christmas yet. It's just turned here in the UK. Although I must say, I'm quite pleased that the temperature's dropped a bit. Still not got the heating on, but that's another question entirely.
It's cold in the house, Vince. It's cold. Put a jumper on.
Yeah. Get that hot water bottle out. We're using 2 duvets. But welcome to the show, everyone.
If anyone wants to draw a Vince as Scrooge,
here is your cooked goose for everyone. Here is we got to figure out how to do a proper Christmas comics episode.
We keep saying it, don't we?
Year.
Yeah, we keep every year we say it, don't we?
Not that many fucking Christmas comics, is there?
There is, though. There has to be.
DC and Marvel have done a couple. They're pretty shit, though.
Listeners, old and new, please get in touch with us about Christmas comics. Because we want to talk about them. We want to have that as a topic. But that's for then. This week we've got some fun.
More con news.
Yeah, more con news, more comic event news upcoming. But we'll get into that very shortly. It may be an event that in a few days we might see you at, literally physically see you.
Yeah,
which is both exciting and sounds a
give
little
you
bit
a
like a
good
threat.
seeing too.
No, Tony, no. If you need to keep him away from you, please just let me know. But as always, we are here to entertain, talk about comics, etc. And we could not do that without our lovely sponsors, Comic House.
Yep.
Yes, the indie comic marketplace that loves indie comics just as much as we do and as much as you do. Because if you listen to this show, you're probably here for the talk about comics. Although some people say they just like the sound of our voices, but I think they're just lying. However, it isn't a lie to say that Comic House is awesome. If you go to comichouse.com, there's a huge selection of titles on the Comic House database. If you also self-publish, list your work on there. It's another avenue to get it out into the open world. If you have digital copies of that work, then we highly recommend adding it to the Comic House app. Loads of publishers are doing it. Individual creators are doing it. It's like Netflix for comics, a subscription service. You get access to an enormous library of digital indie comics that for only £3 a month, which is cheaper than most digital comics, really. And it's been added to all the time. What's on there at the moment, though?
Well, I'm going to focus on Orange Cone Productions this week.
That is a fascinating name to me.
Yeah, we discussed that for quite a few minutes earlier, didn't we?
So we've got Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies, volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4. We've got Cthulhu Invades Oz, Expired Volume 1, Issue 1, Parallels, Issue 1 and Issue 2, The Advocator Winter Edition, Volume 1, and Voodoo Nations, Issue 1. It's a Kind of Magic. So they've produced quite a few titles here.
What's the Advocator about? Because when I hear a name like that, I always think of, the 80s was rife with those VHS, those action.
Oh, and the novels. You remember, the Exterminator and
the
stuff.
Exterminator, the Eliminator, the Protector, the
Penetrator.
Unfortunately, it doesn't have a write-up, so I can't.
Well, there's only one way to discover what it's about then. That's going on to Comic House, signing up and reading it, and then letting us know. Is it as cool as it sounds? Well, to find out more and to have a 14-day free trial, you can go to comichouse.com and find out more today. And thank you to them, as always, for sponsoring the show.
The cover's pretty good. It's like 2 little men standing on the desk in front of a bald man with a load of money next to him.
It's funny what really ruffles your feathers, Dan.
Bald man.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe it.
2 little men standing in front of a bald man.
Yeah, but the 2 little men are standing on his desk. And
aren't they? Like mini men. Yeah.
Okay.
What, like Doll Man or something
Doll
like that?
Man.
Full Moon.
Oh my God. Oh,
that's a good comic, Doll Man, as well.
I feel like we've had a full moon episode, but we haven't, have we?
No,
haven't.
Should we?
Could quite easily do that.
Well, there are a lot of comic adaptations of their stuff.
That's why that's why I wanted to suggest that.
Lots of Puppet Master, Demonic Toys.
They did a 12-issue run, which featured nearly all of their different characters.
Trances, they got to have a comic.
Yeah, there was a long.
We should figure out. This is planning to its utmost, people. When you're hearing it live, direct. Yes, admin. That's what you're here for. But if we can figure out, because this show goes out on a Monday. If you listen to us any other day of the week, thank you very much for listening. We really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
But normally it launches on a Monday. If we can find a Monday that is actually a full moon.
Oh, mate, that'd be good.
Like we launch a full moon comics episode on a full moon. How crazy would that be?
They're worth following on. They're worth following on Instagram. They are as well. They're still putting out nuts stuff.
Hey, maybe we get some of them on board.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Didn't Simon Robbins colour some of them? I've got a feeling he coloured some, didn't he?
Yeah, and we've certainly talked about the full moon stuff.
Oh, and we got the dude in. Who's the dude who did our favourite horror book last year? Let's All Die.
Because my fucking brain's gone blank.
Yeah, what's his name? Let's All Die. Is it that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to put Full Moon Comics on our ACP show ideas.
That's Sean as a Payardi. No.
I've just sent you that date, by the way, for the episode we just discussed. The person in question's agreed to a date, so I've sent it through.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yes.
So this is what you're here for. This is what you're here for.
Sean Gabarin.
Sean Gabarin. That's it. Yeah,
Thank you, Sean. Apologies, Sean, if you're listening. Apologies.
Well, Sean's back for coming on. He was just saying waiting for a couple of projects to come out, and then he'll come back on.
Yeah, we definitely need to.
We like Sean.
Yeah, he's a great creator. But speaking of great creators, I think we'll catch us in about an hour where we're going to do the usual ranting, raving.
Rach is great.
He's great. Because right now we've got an old friend joining us to talk about the upcoming BAM Comics Art and Zine Fair. Right then, this week we're joined by a returning guest, friend of the show, and one of the organisers behind the upcoming BAM. It's Raechel Leigh Carter. Welcome back, Rach.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Rach.
Pleasure, Rach.
Always a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. It's always a pleasure for me as well.
we have been talking about 10 minutes.
What's going on right now?
We're being nice. We just bullied Vince for about the last half an hour altogether, and now we're being nice to each other. It's good.
Yeah. It's nice that something can bring people together, isn't it?
Yeah, bullying you.
Well, like a lynching. It's pretty fucking.
Like what?
Jeez.
A lynching.
Very popular events back in the day.
Anyway, from speaking of popular events, BAM Comics, Zines and Art Fair
nicely done.
Is going to be taking place this Saturday, 22nd of October.
Yes.
In the Comedia in Bath. We've talked about it in the shout-outs quite a few times. And we thought, rather than just us absolutely make a hash out of the shout-outs and whatever else is going on the day, let's get our old pal Raechel back in. Talk about it. And what you'll be able to find on the day, as well as her own wonderful work. So, Rach, let's start off with this. Obviously, I think in between now and the last time we talked to you, there was a little pandemic thing that happened. And of course, like comic events, etc., when they just disappeared for a bit. What inspired you to just think, right, now's the time to bring BAM back?
I don't know really, and I think I'd been looking for events to sell my zines and comics at, and I'd been to Swindon Zine Fair again, which was really good, and I just thought maybe we could do it again. I was on and ahhing about whether or not to do it because, as you know, Vince, there's been lots of changes within our BAM group.
Yeah. With
Lise having moved away, and Sam's not around so much anymore. And
it's like the band sort of like that after their last successful album, they all went and made solo albums and went on their own way. And
yeah. So it was a case of does anybody actually want to do it or not? This time we've opened it out for people to apply, which we never did before. We always kind of was a word of mouth where we would invite people that we knew and liked, or just heard of people that we didn't necessarily know but bought their stuff before, and then would ask each other to kind of suggest other people to come as well. But this time we opened it out, and it I have to say it makes it a lot of work. As you know, Vince, we there's no money involved in it, and no money involved for anybody in that. But like we don't charge for people to have a table, and we don't get paid anything for doing it or anything.
But I think opening it up, you add a whole new layer of admin, don't you? To the
yes,
things you have to do.
Yeah.
And dealing with people is a pain, isn't it? I don't like doing it.
Yeah.
There's the thing of explaining to people why they can't have a table, or why you've given someone else a table over them. We didn't have a lot of people getting upset about not being offered a table, and I
That's
think because we had a couple of people apply and then they weren't actually able to make the date, we were able to offer some other people tables that we hadn't sort of put on the initial shortlist, but and we've
a lot of cons use like a reserve list now, don't they?
And we've also asked a few people to share tables and things, but it has I think expectations are quite high, and we've had a couple of issues with people complaining about the promotions, and which is quite annoying, I have to say.
DM us the names.
You will do. But yeah, it's we're not paid, and we've all got full-time jobs, and we're not professional publicists or what have you, and so it's kind of hard. It has put a different level on it again, but then again there's also lots of people that we don't know, or maybe seen at an event some time ago but not seen them for a while, have applied and will be tabling, and there's lots of interesting people coming, so there's pros and cons to it anyway. But
I think the list, sorry to interrupt you, Rach, but the list you put out, mate, there was a lot of people on that were new to me, which I think for us who we talk for hours every week about the small press, and we go to all these events, to see new people is unusual, but to see so many at some of like a single event did really impress me how, a lot of conventions play favourites. People will continue to get the table in the same spot that they always want at certain conventions, but this one is there's a whole new fresh load of people, which I'm really interested in seeing,
Yeah, so we've got I think it's 33 people come in.
Wow,
nice.
Okay.
Not 33 tables, because we've got some people sharing, but 33 people come in, and it is a total mix, and there's going to be something for everybody. There's some of those erotic comics.
Tony.
Excellent.
Can I just ask to be at the table next to them?
No, you can't.
Okay.
You can ask.
And then we've got stuff that's more suitable for younger people, maybe, and
Tribute press.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Oh yeah, the all ages comics that are tribute press. Jesus.
Yeah, so there's not as many people there that have been at previous BAMs, and I must admit I was a little bit disappointed that John Tucker's not come in.
Yeah, he's got a new baby though, isn't he? Do you know what I mean?
He had.
Yeah.
In fact, when we announced BAM, his baby arrived.
Maybe it's the shock of an announcement forced on the birth.
Yeah. But it is disappointing he's not going to be there, because he's been at all of them. So trying to think who else has been at all of them. Probably Paul Ashley Brown, I think, has been.
Oh, good. I'm good. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I haven't seen him since the last one. Yeah, and he's he buys our stuff. In fact, he appeared in Hercules 4. He's got a poster in there. Yeah, he's a good lad.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's good. But yeah, lots of new names anyway.
Do we want to run through some of them, Rach? Is that going to help just to promote the different people? What do you think?
Yeah, do you want me to run through the entire list?
Well, it's 33.
I'll just read it.
Time.
I'll just
She's
read
prepared.
it really
She's
quick.
got a list.
Yeah,
so
look at
let's
this.
go.
Well, maybe
How many
just
creators are there?
33 exhibitors.
I'm
Is that right?
33
really
exhibitors.
quick.
Go on, then, go for it.
Yeah, but
Adam
let's hear what they're about. Come on, you know.
Oh, Adam Falk, Aru Udley, C. Bedford, C. Davies, Cole Henley, Elliot Hanks, Flynn Campbell, Geist, Zoe Burgess Foreman, Lily Sockmonkey, Mason Wilson, Isabel Mulvaney, Michaela Schuker, Mole Saunders, Paul Ashley Brown, Pigeon Camilla Kroll, Pirate Press, Rick Jackson,
Yay.
Robin H.B. Pencil, Rusty, Ryan Wadden Art, Simon L. Reed, yay, Stefan Alexander, Stuart Mulrain, yay, and me, Sar Cousins, Tom Gooch, Tribute Press, woohoo, Zines, Vi Roberts, Vince Hunt, and Joseph Simon.
Okay.
Why did you go? Vince
Who was that?
Hunt?
Sorry, I don't know who did that.
That's lovely, that is.
Who's Lily Sockmonkey then? Who's that?
That's Nini.
That's Nunu.
Yeah, you call it Nunu. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Tony never calls people by their correct name.
Deal with it.
It'd be good to see Rick as well. Rick's just I speak to Rick.
That's awesome.
Occasionally, yeah, and he's he's had some things on, but he's back and he's done some illustrated book covers. I think recently he sent through to me.
Has he? Because I was worried about him. I kept thinking, why am I not seeing Rick on social media? And it was good reason he wasn't on there. But
Yes.
but I didn't know
Very
what had
wise.
happened. Yeah. But yeah, good, because I think his son saw BAM advertised and mentioned it to him, so he got in touch. And
that's good.
yes, because his son's on social media, I think so. Yeah, so they're coming. That would be good.
That's
We've got
great, yeah.
Simon L. Reed, who we're both a fan of, aren't we, Rach?
Yeah.
I love Simon L. Reed stuff. He's got he's got a new one coming up for the event. So
Oh, is he?
yeah.
We
Yeah.
did a dramatic reading of one of his comics.
We
remember?
did. We did. I
It's,
think he likes it.
it's mental stuff, and we need to get him on the show properly.
Yeah, it'd be good. Yeah.
It would be good. Yeah.
But there's obviously that's a wonderful sort of diverse list of creators and artists and zine makers and comics. So there's going to be all kinds of things at the show. But there's a lovely atmosphere within the sort of community of people tabling there. That's what I've found whenever I've been there.
Yeah, everyone's pretty supportive. There's a lot of people who I met at that who now sort of will retweet the pod and stuff like that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah, it's nice, and I've got friends from zine fairs and things. Well, you guys for a start. That's how I met you at Stuart's event. But yeah, it is really good because people become friends afterwards and stay in touch on social media. So you'll see that people have formed friendships with people like John Otway. He's friends with Kat, who was at one of the BAM events.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
She's still alive though, yeah.
Kat, yeah. she did move to Scotland though.
Yeah, probably a wise move.
Did John tell you that?
It's like George Michael's girlfriend lives in France. It's similar to that, isn't it? I love John. We love John.
Yeah, we love
John. Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
But he will kill you.
He's gonna come, isn't he? To the event.
Hopefully, I'll text him. I'll text him now while we're talking. Yeah.
So, and I hope Sarah's going to be there as well.
She's hoping to be, I think, isn't she? Yeah. I think that's what's happening.
Oh, I hope so.
This sort of day, is it like, because it's not when you think of comic conventions and stuff like that, isn't it a full on day? This is from 11 till 3. It's free entry in the Comedia in Bath, which is right central in the middle of Bath. So you can get some great books, and you can have a wander around Bath at the same time. You can do it.
Was there
all.
the other year? There was like a Christmas fair or something. It was absolutely
God, yeah, it's heathen, wasn't it? This will be better though, wouldn't it? It's a better day, I think.
Yeah.
I have a feeling there's something on though, but there's always
Doesn't matter.
something on.
BAM's on. That's all you need.
Yeah.
There's always something on in Bath, isn't there?
Have you said the venue yet, Rach?
Yeah, it's the Comedia in Bath on Westgate Street, and they're so good to us because they let us have the venue for free. So they've got a community remit, and we put it on. That's why it's free for everybody, because they kindly host it.
Oh, cool.
If we had to pay a fee to rent the venue, then obviously we'd have to pass it on somehow. But we're very lucky that they let us come back. So that's nice.
That's excellent. That's really good.
Yeah. It's got that feel of an old school convention where you feel that there was probably a gig in there about 6 hours beforehand. And it's still, there's still a bit of the waft of the booze in the air. I kind of like that, you know.
Certainly, I think one year we were setting out, weren't we, Rachel? And like the
floors.
The floor was still a little bit sticky from wasn't it like a Phil Collins tribute act the night before or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, the floor's sticky, and at one point somebody said that a slice of lemon went flying past them. I'm not sure where it came from.
Vince probably threw that.
Yeah. I've always got a bag of lemons with me.
I can remember there was this one dude turned up with his friend who was tabling, who actually probably shouldn't have been tabling because he didn't bring any zines with him in the end. He just brought some CDs. Does anybody remember this? And he had his friend with him who had high-waisted trousers on, and he was walking around and lifting his feet up really high on purpose to kind of make a point that the floor was sticky, and he had these high-waisted trousers on.
I can hear Tony sighing, and you're just judging the very image of this person, aren't you, Tony?
Sounds like Simon Cowell.
It does, yeah. Some kind of council estate hipster cowl has turned up.
Well, you never know who's going to walk through the door.
No, you don't, do you?
Could be some celebrities come and see us. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've got some people that have done really good stuff, haven't we? We've got Paul Henley. He did a book with someone famous recently, whose name I've forgotten.
Oh, this rings a bell. Yeah, I can't remember what that is.
Someone famous who you've forgotten.
Yeah. Probably so famous we can't remember.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and find out.
Unbelievably famous.
Yeah.
But transitioning, speaking of famous people, now obviously when we spoke to you before, you're infamous for your Nicolas Cage zine.
I know.
Which
I have to say is a steady seller.
Brilliant.
Rightfully so.
I don't know how many years I've been selling it for, and it still sells all the time.
Have you thought about doing another one?
Well, yes, many times.
I mean, I'm not going to say that you're going to run out of films that he's made to talk about.
Yeah, you never do that. You make one comes out every week, I think.
Yeah.
Do you know, this is true. And in the first one, I said this is the first in a series of zines. And have I made a second one yet? No. I've been asked many times, like, when's the second one coming out? I've got a famous friend now because I went to the Nicolas Cage film festival in Glasgow. It was on 3 years in a row. I didn't know about it the first year, but I went the second and third year, and it was amazing. And there's all these fantastic people in Glasgow who are just so friendly and wonderful. And the people organising it had said that they'd sell my zine for me. And they said to me that a famous writer had bought a copy, and I said, "Who is it?" And because I don't know.
You want to know?
Yeah. And it was Denise Mina, the crime writer.
Right.
But
yeah, she's written some Hellblazer.
She's done some comic book writing as well, I think, hasn't she?
Yeah.
Anyway, she's awesome, and she loves it, and she kept buying copies of it. I think she must have bought about 10 copies of it now.
Wow,
that's great.
To send to friends and stuff. So she's amazing. And
there you go. You do another one. You've automatically got 10 copies that are going to be sold of the next.
Yeah, you want to get on that, Rach.
Yeah. What did they?
Does she want to come to BAM and table?
This sounds like a stupid question, right? But what do they show at the Nicolas Cage Festival? And I know it's going to be Nicolas Cage films, but
it is. Yeah, Nicolas Cage.
How do they?
Do like rare ones?
How do they vary it up? Yeah, is there rare ones, odd ones?
Well, each year, I mean, I think there's a quiz as well, a Nicolas Cage quiz each year, and the winner of it gets to pick a film for the next year.
You ever won it? Have you ever won it?
No.
Sorry.
But I've not got a very good memory. I just go, it's that one.
I told her that before.
One, that one, yeah. I'm not quick enough to win the competition. But anyway,
it's like a pub quiz when you hear the question, and I'm too busy thinking about the answer that I don't realise that we've moved on 3 other questions, and I don't.
I'm too busy googling
it. But anyway, there's so many Nicolas Cage films. It could have carried on running forever, I suppose. But each year they did it so beautifully, because the tickets were really cheap, because the people organising it, Matchbox Cine Club, they're interested in opening things out to people and making things accessible. So it was actually pay what you can afford. People could actually just pay £1 to come and watch a film, and that was it. 50p even, and they would let them in, no questions asked. But the whole thing, I can't remember how much it would cost for 3 days worth of Nicolas Cage films, including like UK premieres and things like that. Not that he was going to turn up to them, but we always hoped. But it'd be something like 40 quid for 3 days worth of films, and you'd have 12 or 13 films or something like that, and extras. So there'd be interviews with like live streamed interviews with people that had either directed films or worked with him, or what have you. So it was really good fun, and it had a real family feel to it.
That's cool.
So they could
he goes to New York quite a lot, the Comic-Con, because he's got previous for going through back issues and buying back issues at it.
He's a big comics fan. Well, I think
but didn't
he had to sell some off, didn't he?
Yeah, he sold some off when didn't Elvis's daughter insist or something like that. Is that right?
I think we hear a tax bill, didn't he?
It was recently. It was his tax bill, and I think it broke his heart. He had the #1 Superman or something.
Action Comics, whatever it was.
But he, so he's a big comics fan, and I have got a comic that him and his son wrote together, and somebody else drew. But I can't stand the drawing, and it really puts me off.
Right.
Which is sad, really. It's just the style of drawing is really not my cup of tea. But I gave it a go. I read it.
What would you describe the art style like, Rich?
Horrible.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Horrible. I'd say that. Maybe it's pretty mean because I can't draw. But
you can draw.
Oh, it's Voodoo Child. That's the comic.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Bit of a generic title, then, it?
Yeah, so it's set in New Orleans. What can I tell you?
He wrote it while he was doing that Bad Lieutenant prequel thing. Because that was in New Orleans, wasn't it?
He had a a haunted house or something in New Orleans. Like, it was a really famous house that's always in films set in New Orleans. But I don't think he's got that anymore.
Right.
When he was having to sell stuff off, but
right.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you're on fire with zines and stuff, aren't you? You're you've just put one out, haven't you? Because you've got you're almost like collecting stuff from a particular person, aren't you? Did you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, it's not comics though. I haven't.
No, that's fine. It's a zine, isn't it?
But it's a zine, and I'm a big Jane Birkin fan. She's a singer and actress and writer and director and all sorts of things. Has been a fashion model, and I collect stuff about her, and I've been putting it into just a series of zines about her. And Dave, my partner Dave, he designs them very beautifully, I have to say.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it without him.
Because he learnt design skills to do that, didn't he? I think he was telling me.
Well, he already had some design skills, but not on that particular software, so that he could do this magazine for me. So, but yeah, it's beautiful, and people seem to like it. And
I've got all 3. Yeah.
Thank you. You're so kind. You are.
Don't be silly. I'm a fan of it. Yeah, it's nice. Have you ever reached out to her? And
well, the thing was, I had been sending them to her, but few years back, her daughter died under strange circumstances. She might have committed suicide, or she might have had an accident, and so she's been a bit out of things for a while. But she's back again, and actually she came to London earlier this year, and I'm now in touch with her management because she really loved the zine and asked to send some more copies. And in fact, this last week, her management got in touch with me to ask me if I wanted to go to a show in London. Not Jane's show. I would have jumped at the chance if it was Jane, but it was someone else today, and I couldn't go. But it was really nice of them to invite me. So I've made a connection there anyway, and they did say that they think it's wonderful, and that's really nice for me because I just wanted to know she was okay with it, because there's nothing bad about it at all. But I know that she's not keen on biographies and stuff like that, and it's not a biography as such. It has elements of her life in there, but it's mainly about her work.
So, that's lovely, mate. Have you met her? Have you?
Tons of times. Yeah.
Ah, cool. Right.
Yeah, and because she knew who I was, because I used to have a Jane Birkin covers band in the
that's right. in
the 90s.
There is a picture of you available online in that band. We found it, didn't we? Yeah. Looking very funky. Yeah.
Oh. It was a long time ago. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to lately. But I do need to finish off the second Nicolas Cage zine and do some other stuff, because I've been doing artwork but not actually a zine. So
okay.
Yeah.
What is
you were doing somewhere on the Drink and Draw, weren't you, last time?
Yeah. What is it about zines that sort of draws you to that sort of format?
Because I started out doing not necessarily with drawings, but I started out doing a blog, writing about things that I like. But in the end, you don't necessarily get much of a connection with people through that. Whereas I've actually got friends out of doing that Jane Birkin zine. I've met new people. We all met up at the Jane Birkin concert, and we're
awesome.
proper friends now. So
nice.
It's nice. But yeah, so I've made connections with people through doing that, and I do think, because I am one of those people that still collects physical copies of things, films and books and comics and things. I don't do digital so much. I can't seem to enjoy reading things online so much.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
which was when you did your tribute press thingy,
Patreon.
I couldn't. As much as I wanted to read them, I couldn't bring myself to read.
That's right, mate. We understand that totally.
So I kept waiting for the books to come out, and you know, at one point they were free to Patreon supporters, and then there were ones that you published.
Yeah, we did it for a year.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed being part of the group, and
that's a great idea. A great concept.
Yeah.
I think we did 12 comics. You know, pretty much. You know, they weren't all printed, but we did. You know, what would have been 12 comics worth in a year. So we're quite pleased with that. You know, it's quite hard work.
Really good output, and and it was also incredibly generous, I thought, because for what you were charging, which was peanuts, I didn't know how you could do it. And
I think someone might have a photocopier of that work. I'll be honest with you, I can't say who, but someone we know.
but foul piece stuff, and he'll put something out, and it costs £2 or something, and you're like, what? I just I don't know how people can do it.
I've just had a reply from Ottaway live on the pod.
Yeah,
he's not going to Bam, but he's going to Nottingham.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So you're not going to Nottingham, are you, Rach?
No, but I come from Nottingham, as you know, and I go and see my family at some point. When is Nottingham?
End of the month.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the 28th.
It's the week after.
29th, yeah. Yeah, it's a busy month, this month of conventions, because it's been the lakes the last couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't Kev mention something about, like, if we was going to do is thinking about changing the date of Nottingham, and what was a good...
Yeah. There's so much in this sort of 6-week period is pretty much every convention. Yeah. It's madness.
Yeah, I think there's an MCM at the end of October.
Then we got Thought Bubble just after that, haven't we? As well, you know. We had a conversation, didn't we, Rach? You were saying to me when you were sort of planning it, you said we had a chat about when would be a good week, and I sort of threw some dates at you for other events, and you sort of jigsawed it your way into it. Yeah.
I mean, it's silly to be in competition with anything else.
Yeah.
But it's I wish I could apply to some of the other events and that, but also I just find it doesn't pay. I mean, I know it's not about that, but then you have to draw the line when it's costing you lots of money just to go and get rid of a few zines or comics or what have you, and still have no money.
Yeah, I always laugh at these people who say, "Well, I've covered my table costs," and I think, well, that doesn't include the 300 quid for hotels, the 150 quid in petrol, the 400 quid in booze, it's like that, isn't it?
The printing of the book. And
all the stuff that you buy when you get there.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
You just think like the amount of stuff that you buy yourself, you're not sure how, but when people say like, oh, I didn't do that well, you're like, well, I just spent a ton of money. I don't know. Everybody else must be doing well.
Yeah, these sort of inflated, I sold 400 issues. Yeah, I'm always a bit dubious of that sort of, quote. But I think in the same way that you're running BAM at the Comedia, as a free sort of volunteer, you're not making anything out of it. I kind of think that's why I do it as well, sort of thing. I don't go there with an expectation to cover huge amounts of costs and stuff. It's just I enjoy it, man. So that's how it works.
Yeah, and it was always really good fun. It's like having a big party where some of your mates are there, and it's really great that you and Falpy are coming.
We're excited. Falpy might be a bit late. He'll sort of wander in, loping casually as he's wanted.
Of course you will. Of course you will. Yeah, so it's going to be good. And I haven't seen Vince for ages because we used to bump into each other in town, but you don't live here anymore, do you, Vince?
I live just outside town, so...
I haven't seen you for a year, Vince.
What are you talking about?
When did I see you?
The bloody lawgiver.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it was Thought Bubble before that, wasn't it? So when was Lawgiver, May?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, still a while.
Can't be Thought Bubble's just around the corner.
Was that the last time I saw you, Dan?
I think so. Have I ever seen you uptown?
Yeah, you might have seen him yesterday, Dan, the way his mind works.
What? I saw you yesterday. I was shouting porridge through your letterbox.
Hey, porridge for Papa Bear!
What did he sell as Papa Bear Eddie's porridge or something like
that? Yeah. Oh, dear God. So, at BAM, there's quite a few sort of zine makers as well, isn't there? Going there. What sort of zines do you like to pick up? Because, like you, as you sort of touched on earlier, like Swindon Zine Fair, what are shows like that are marketed as just straight up zine shows? What are they like to go to?
Well, Swindon is comics and zines as well, but
right.
But I think we've talked about these before. I think maybe just with Tone, I'm not sure, but no, I think it was on here.
I think it was, mate. I think it was.
You get some really nutso stuff, but you also get some really interesting stuff. You get a lot of like people writing about their woes and things, and which is not so much my bag. And
do you prefer something with a topic rather than like an autobiographical thing? More of a
I like all sorts of stuff, and I like weird things. I think, I don't know how to put it. Like in terms of, I'm not going to buy a zine about somebody's vagina.
I am.
No, Tony.
Yeah.
If you saw it, you would not want.
Oh, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, okay.
Is it a pop-up book? No.
Scratch and sniff.
Pop in.
And
a pop-in book. That's disgusting.
A pop-in book. You get a bag of scampy knickknacks.
Oh my God.
Well, I wouldn't, because I'm a vegetarian. I do remember one BAM, Falpy, you and Nunu making up a story about me to put a zine at one point. Do you remember? You had some elaborate story about I'd fallen over on something.
We did, and Falpy was thumbnailing. Yeah, dirty bastard.
What can you say?
I think zines are. I mean, people kind of think, you know, the millennials of the world, right, seem to think that zines are a new thing, but zines have been about for a long time. I mean, punk zines were massive, weren't they? And some of them are like super expensive if you're going to find them.
Oh God, yeah. And like Dave's got some Scott Walker zines from Japan.
Oh wow.
From like the 70s, 60s or 70s, really old, sort of, you know, those ones that look, you know, that
typewriter kind of stuff, yeah.
Well, old school, where it's been on like one of those. What were the old school photocopiers that were really?
Oh yeah, they come out as purple. Those ones.
Like really grey, you know, because there's not much ink or something. I don't know. But yeah, we both of us like all sorts of different types of zines, and like I don't mind autobiographical ones if it's not just misery. You know, but I can't be bothered. I like fun and weirdness and you know.
Yeah, I think if it's just sort of I think
Matt Simmons, you know.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a brilliant one. Yeah, Cat's bumholes, you know, ever present in my mind.
Butthole is just chef's kiss, you know. Yeah. That kind of thing. So I like some DIY stuff, you know.
Yeah, people need to let their imaginations run riot a bit. I think post-COVID for a while, all we got was books about how people were depressed during COVID, and it just made me more depressed, you know.
Yeah, you don't want that. You want something that makes you giggle, or
exactly.
That makes you interested in something. I'm not much into misery, really.
Yeah, there's a lot of zines. If you look on eBay, there's some great stuff out there that, you know, comes as like 4 pages of like tightly packed typewriter typed, you know, paragraphs and stuff like that, and they're just by some crazy person in their basement typing about their favorite episode of Star Trek or something. You know, it's all this sort of thing. I love it. I love all that sort of thing.
And quite often I've bought stuff just to support someone, like not necessarily interested in it, but just think, I'll give it a go, you know. Unless it's really off-putting because it's too dull or too miserable, then I'll probably give it a go. But I do like visuals, but not. It doesn't have to be visual, no.
Right. Okay. There's a crossover though between comics and zines, isn't there? I mean, a lot of zines will have little comic strips in them and stuff in there. I think it is very much a joined market, especially things like Swindon and some of the other sort of bigger zine fairs. What was the one in Bristol for years, Vince?
I really wanted to go to that, and it stopped. And
it did, didn't it?
I'm convinced they stopped doing it just so I couldn't table there, because they kept telling me, you don't have enough comics and zines, and I was like, I'm surely I've got enough now, and they're like, no, we're not doing it anymore now. That's what they told me anyway.
Bristol. Yeah, the Bristol Comic Con was like just a great one, wasn't it, for years?
But it was their Bristol Zine Fair as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was. It was amazing, Bristol Comic and Zine Fair.
Because that took place is a fire station, wasn't it, in Bristol?
Right. Okay, that's rings a bell. I
only went once, and that was the last time that it was on.
It was really good, wasn't it?
It was absolutely heaving.
Yeah.
It was really good in there. Lots of different sort of creators and artwork.
And Paul Ashley Brown was always there, and then that's where I first saw his work. I'm going to the Bristol Comic and Zine Fair, and I've been buying his stuff ever since.
Yeah, me too. I like his stuff. Yeah. I've lent. What's that one he did? It's like the mental Mickey Mouse one. I lent that to someone. I need to get another copy of that.
Oh, Bonbon Fabrica.
That's a great name.
He can draw, you know. He's a great artist, and he's been about for decades in the sort of small press scene and stuff.
Yeah, and he's always threatening to stop, and then he doesn't stop, and and he's described himself in his bio as a a note-sider artist.
That's right. I saw that. Yeah. I did press that as a hashtag on Twitter, and it only came up with that one tweet.
Easy to find.
Yeah, exactly. How have you found the promotional side of things, Rach? Because you've really, I know it was promoted quite well before, but seemingly you've sort of gone into almost like bios of each creator, have you?
Yeah, and so we asked everybody to provide a bio and some images, and the only person who hasn't done that is Joseph Simons. Anyway, that's why he's not been promoted yet, because we've been asking him for weeks, and he still hasn't come up with it.
Isn't he doing something that's like how you can view Golden Age comics? Hasn't he got like a microfiche viewer or something? Is that right?
He has, yeah. But I wish he'd just send us something about it, because people would be interested, you know?
Yeah.
He made some lovely badges for us once as well.
He did. They're great, aren't they? Yeah. I think it's the only time I met him was at the first BAM or the second BAM, I think.
Yeah.
He came round. But I haven't met him since, but he occasionally message.
Yeah, we can't single them out completely because I was bloody awful getting back to them with my details, which is why my details have only just gone online.
You just scraped through, Vince. I mean, actually, you're scraped through because I had 2 people to post about, and we were doing 3 a day, and yours came in just in time to be the 3rd one.
So, nice. Yeah. I know you've done Falpy, and you've done the Awesome Pod, and you've done Tribute, and you've done Vince. I can't think of anyone who's missing from that. Can you? Not sure.
No one important.
Nobody important.
Dan, where do you live, Dan? I mean, I'm not asking for your address.
No.
Address.
South of the water.
Yeah, thought so.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
it's weird.
I thought so. I was like,
it's the most densely populated part of the country, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of comic stuff going on.
I know, we've often said that, haven't we?
Yeah.
Why isn't there a Croydon Zine and Comic Fair or something? You know, there's a Catford one, isn't there?
There is, yes.
I've never been to that.
Why don't you be the change you want to see in the world?
Because it's bloody hard.
Oh, right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, top. Like, I'd actually doff my cap to anyone who runs a zine fair or a con, because it's a fucking mission. It's really hard.
Because you were saying you'd probably just do one just for men. Is that right? Or
just for men? Men only.
Yeah,
that was a different magazine.
Just for men.
Yeah.
I'm just all I can picture is Steven Seagal with his hair dye.
Imagine if he turned up. I'd love that. I'd love that.
Would you?
What?
Anyway,
I bought a magazine called Just for Men, and I opened it up, and it's full of women with not a stitch on them.
Imagine your surprise.
Took it back to the shop.
Yeah. My money back, please. This magazine is sticky. No, you cannot.
That's not my joke. That's a Viz joke. I can't claim.
Oh dear. Yeah, but I mean, it's good that BAM's come back though. I think it's a lovely event, and like, obviously, anyone listening, if you're in the area, then please pop in, because it's just gonna be full of lovely people. Plus, there's a coffee shop.
It's a coffee shop. It's free to come in. It's right in the centre of town. It's only like 5-10 minutes walk from the train station.
The car park just across that little green, isn't there? That's easy to park at.
Yeah. And we're going to be there, aren't we, Vince and Tone?
Yeah.
And Dan will be there in spirit.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about him.
At some point, we need to get a life-size cardboard cutout of him.
Yeah.
No,
inflatable.
It's probably not a good idea.
We
just do things
I won't mention the one I've got. Yeah.
What?
Lord.
Get the puncture repair kit.
My God. I mean, what have you got upcoming though? Like, obviously we're getting towards the tail end of the year, and like you always seem to be like working on something, Rach. What's in the future, like BAM and beyond? What are you looking?
Well, I started doing with Nini. Started doing a rock and roll jumble sale at Comedia as well.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
We've got that coming up in December.
But what goes on at a rock and roll jumble sale?
It's basically it's a jumble sale, but not an old lady's jumble sale. Even though I'm an old lady, it's for people who like buying how to describe it? Cool stuff.
It was like
than,
VHS tapes of old movies and stuff like that. I think I saw in there. Old novels and movie tie-ins and stuff like that.
Yeah, and if people are selling clothes, they're vintage clothes and vintage magazines and things like that. Just stuff that people are getting rid of.
I love the fact it's just called vintage now, isn't it? It's like if you just want to get rid of something, you can just put the word vintage on it.
There was someone at New York had vintage comics. I'm thinking, come on.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, well, just to say, I'm going to be bringing some comics, not my comics, to BAM. And,
right.
And so is Nini, that we're having a clear out. And Dave's even managed to pull a few comics out of his... We've got a long
out of his
box.
what? You need to finish that sentence.
Yeah.
Out of his collection.
Right.
I've even managed to get Dave to agree to part with some of his comics, and he found some doublers and things like that. So
he'll be down there buying them back, won't he?
He actually willingly put stuff in the box to get rid of. So we'll be selling some comics off as well.
That's a good thing about being there early is you get to look at stuff like that before the horrible public come in.
And Nick, Lily Sock Monkey's husband, he's going to be selling off some of his as well. So that should be
good. Yeah, he's a big comics fan, isn't he?
Yeah, big comics fan. He used to work in the local comic shop here.
I remember him telling me about that. Yeah. Oh, cool.
So yeah, there might be a few bits and pieces you might be interested in, maybe.
And
Definitely.
That's in December.
No, that's at BAM. We're bringing them with us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we're just going to have like a little box on the edge of the table. So.
See, so much stuff you can pick up at BAM, isn't there? Hey?
Yeah.
So shame on you.
Genuinely, there's loads of new stuff there. That's the problem we have sometimes. We can't find new stuff every week, but there's going to be loads of new stuff of that. I'm really looking forward to seeing what there is. Yeah.
It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a fun day, and we'll probably all go for some food afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be really nice. Yeah, but have a little catch up afterwards because it doesn't finish too late.
Yeah.
So
and because like the Christmas markets aren't at the same time, because
that was the problem last time, wasn't
folks,
it?
like the Bath Christmas markets are insane. So
I remember you Corey Sando was absolutely fucking bedlam. Like,
it is. And there's people buying wooden ties.
Yeah.
Wooden pies.
Ties.
Ties.
Yeah.
Wooden ties.
Yeah.
I know.
Dan,
what?
Like, it's a tie made of wood, Dan.
How does that work?
I don't
Is
know.
that a countryside thing?
But they have like it's
okay.
not like stalls. These are proper like wooden like sheds that go out all through the town, and they cost an absolute fortune. I don't know how many ties this fella must shift in order to make it worth it. But he's there every year.
He's there every year, and he must be coining it in because he wouldn't be coming back.
I've got to Google a wooden tie. What the fuck this is?
I know, but who buys one? Well, maybe buy one once. I wouldn't, but buy one once. But you're not going to buy another one the next year, are you?
Are they different styles? Is one like a kipper tie and one's like a piano tie?
Oh, they're like kind of segmented thing.
What are they for?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then you get like those enormous bottles of olive oil that they charge 20 quid for, and you're like, why?
Yeah.
It's got to be this kid. It's got wooden bow ties, and he's got like a stand. So I reckon it's probably the same geezer.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
You know, they do. This going to go on a point here. You know, they do like German Christmas markets in the UK. Do you think they do like British Christmas markets in Germany?
Everyone gets beard up and wears Union shorts.
When you say German Christmas market, like there's one in Bristol, the one that serves like German beer and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And things.
Yeah.
Like,
you think they do like,
isn't it?
Yeah.
They do like an English one over there.
Yeah, but what would you get? What would you get?
That's my question.
Pie and mash.
Pie and mash.
Yeah.
Bangers and mash.
So basically, what the UK has to give everyone is mash.
Yeah, football violence. They sell a bit of football violence. And it's
lovely bit of violence and mash. Maybe the occasional sausage.
The old page 3 girl.
There you go. Get some of that sort of English. That white garden fence being hoyed at you. A bald-headed man.
Is it? And you get old Ronnie Pickering turn up.
Yeah.
Have a square off against
Ronnie
someone.
Pickering. Who's that? Me.
See, it's gone off the rails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christmas.
Rach,
Well, if you're in
encourages us
Germany
secretly.
and you know about these kind of markets, do they do a British one or
I'll
an
work with a
equivalent?
German lady. I'll ask her tomorrow. Find out for you.
Right in.
Yeah. I'll do some research.
But if you're in the area on the 22nd of October, then pop along
Come
and
in.
see us.
So yeah, go
in
see
the
Bam.
Comedia.
Yeah.
Because as you can tell, it's going to be a bit of a laugh. And you'll
Yeah.
be
There's always a laugh, that event.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourites.
The wooden tie guy won't be there, though.
No, he won't be there. More
I'm going
than
to
a
smack
pity.
the shit out of him if he turns up.
Perhaps
If you're
like-
concerned about the amount of promotion in it, because it's a free event, you be the promotion.
Yeah. If you're coming along
Promote it.
and got a
promote,
table,
promote.
then make sure you're promoting
And
the
don't
shit out of
fucking
this.
grum
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, no one turned up." So, well, if you don't fucking,
That's your
let
fault.
people know.
People
Yeah.
do
That's a
that.
pet hate of mine. People who get free tables and stuff and then never promote it.
People
Yeah.
always do, but that
lot
happens
of that going on
with
too.
every event. Though,
Doesn't
don't
it?
they?
Yeah.
Every event. And
They,
like
they don't even like their own post, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
Just
I
promote
find it
yourself.
really bizarre. Yeah.
yeah. But
Oh, they're posting about me again. Like that, isn't it?
you actually sound like you wanted to cry,
Yeah.
there, Tony.
Right click. What was it? Report for harassment. Target harassment.
Well, thank you for popping on to talk to us about it. I can't wait to catch up with you properly.
Yeah,
next
looking
week.
forward to it, mate.
Can't wait to see you
Yeah.
guys. It's
Yeah.
gonna
Hi to
be
Dave as well.
yeah. And can't wait to see you. And I wish Dan was coming too, but
Yeah.
Me too.
you can't have everything, can
No.
you?
No, you can't have everything.
You got the best.
Yeah.
T and B.
Yeah. You got the pie and the mash. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And I'm the liquor.
But not
Pardon?
the battered sausage.
Dan's the battered sausage.
As you get older, it gets a different colour. Your body.
See you later. Where can people find out more about the event and your work, Rach?
Oh God,
It's the only thing you haven't written down.
I haven't got the BAM addresses written down.
Where can they find you? I'll look at the rest.
Oh, they can find me at Tiny Noggin on Twitter and on Instagram at Raechel Tiny Noggin. That's spelled Raechel Tiny Noggin, all one word. And I'm on Etsy, and I'll be at BAM on Saturday the 22nd.
Which you can find on Twitter at @BAM_fair. I believe, is it the same thing on Instagram? Vamp, I'm about to find it.
Yeah, I'm about to look. You looking?
BAM_comic zine art fair. There you go.
Cool.
Yeah,
There you
and
go.
it's on Facebook as well, but I don't know because I'm not on Facebook.
Yeah, I'm not on Facebook either anymore.
Well, if you're on Facebook, go and find it there and pop along for the
Yeah.
day and meet some lovely people, buy some art, and it'd be a great place to get some early Christmas presents. So
Yeah, it will be,
Absolutely.
won't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Be inspired
Yeah.
by the art that's present in there as well. You know.
yeah. And if you want to stay away from me and Tony, we completely understand. But bye from everyone else.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rach. As always, you're a
Cheers,
Thanks.
Rach. Yeah, it's great.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah. Thanks.
And there you have it. There you go. That's another event to put in your
Rach is
busy
great. That'll be
calendars.
good as
Yeah.
well, and
Yeah.
funny and friendly and a laugh and nice lot of art there that you won't have seen elsewhere. Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to that. Yeah.
If you just want a lovely day, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know.
Avoid us, but
I mean, comic events and conventions can sometimes be quite stressful events. It's just walking around. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a certain intensity to it. But this is going to be really nice.
Oh man, I'm still tired from last weekend. Still done.
Well, I'm not surprised. You do like 1 billion hours worth of comic conventioning.
Yeah, it was
it's
pretty intense.
tough.
But what?
Yeah.
But it was the lakes this weekend, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I was going to go, but I just
Yeah.
didn't. I couldn't do
We
it.
hope everyone that was at the lakes this weekend, because some of
Had a
our
great time.
some of our friends.
Yeah, Rich
Yeah,
and
this is
Alex
nice.
were there, aren't they? They travelled up from Lincolnshire. Yeah, it looked good.
We hope.
Let us know how you get on. We can do that in the Slack group
Yeah,
if you're a part of that. Give us
Do
some feedback in there. Always good to hear. We've got a Slack channel dedicated to that.
Yeah.
always free.
And of course, over the next couple of weeks, we've got Nottingham Comic Con coming up. But this is crazy. It almost sounds like the shout-outs. Have we got any shout-outs, gents?
I've got an announcement around Nottingham, actually. So Nottingham's coming at you like Cleopatra, I believe is the phrase that the kids are using. On the 20...
No,
not really. No. On the 29th of October. So there's a couple of panels. There's the Autobio Comics panel that is got Roger Langridge, myself, Al Henderson, and Eamon Clark on. So we'll be talking about what makes a good auto-bio comic. And we'll be super prepared. We've got a little meeting about it this week. And also, Chris Imber will be doing a live drawing panel at it, which should be pretty cool.
Wow.
So if you've got some saucepans, that means kids, if you've got some kids at it and you want to come along and talk about drawing, and they can maybe have a little play with drawing themselves, if they bring a notebook and stuff along, he'll be telling you how to draw things, and I'm interviewing him as he does it, because it's sometimes difficult to draw and talk at the same time, isn't it? So I'll be asking him little questions as we go along. So
his stuff he's posting on Instagram and social media in general is absolutely
always
lovely.
Quality.
I think he's doing it for it might be his as yet unnamed book he's doing with the Breakfast Hero Boys, but he might know more. Obviously, he will know more than me about that because he's doing it.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to chat to him about that as well. I've got an announcement to make. The winner of the musical lyric quiz from 2 weeks ago, Alabama 3. The answer was don't dance to techno from them. The winner, who came in through the gate like Cleopatra, that's what the kids are saying, is Dave Robertson.
Hey,
so
there you go, Dave.
Dave's won a prize. So just remind me of your address, Dave, and I'll be sending it up to you, mate.
ACP no prize.
Yeah. I've got two Kickstarters quickly. Got Keir Wordsmith. There's another few weeks left on it. He's already smashed it. But if you want to be in on the bottom floor, getting this amazing comic and some of the best artwork you're going to see in indie comics, get on board that as well. That's on Kickstarter. Direct Conversations is the new comics interview book from Paul Kupperberg. I'm a fan of Paul's work. He's a Marvel writer. It features chats that Paul has had with contemporaries of his. That include, these are some of the names: Tony Isabella, Paul Levitz, Howard Chaykin, Joe Staten, and many, many more. I follow him on Kickstarter because you can do that, can't you? And he's always got great stuff out. I bought recently from him. I never write for money, but I always turn in the manuscript for a check. A book on writing by Paul Kupperberg, which is really worth getting if you can. But get on this; it's going to be really clever chats, and it's just past its goal, so it's definitely going to be made. So go and get that one as well. There you go.
Nice. Dan, what have you got?
I've got two. We've got a Sector A Shadows, a sci-fi comic book. Join the rescue ship UUA -R24 and its crew as they respond to a distress signal in the deep space of the UUA territory. Done by Aaron Rackley and Dan Harris. That's on Kickstarter now. Yep. It's about halfway towards me and his goal.
Cool.
We've got Widdershins, Sea Change, Victorian era magic and adventure in the latest printed volume of the webcomic Widdershins. By a friend of the show, Kate Ashwin, who was on in our first year.
I think it was, mate. Yeah. I think it was. Yeah.
I think this is a title that's gone from strength to strength.
Yeah.
So maybe it's worth checking in with Kate and seeing.
She's got a massive following online, isn't she? Yeah. I think she does a Patreon as well. Am I right in saying that? I think.
Yeah. I got an enamel badge from her recently.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, she did as well as doing the book. She's done other Kickstarters for Widdershins sort of flavoured. Sort of merch and stuff as well, and it's always good. She knows exactly what she's doing when it comes to that comic and like crowdfunding campaigns and stuff. It's brilliant.
Viper 2, Viper Crimson Dawn has been submitted to Kickstarter, so it should be going live this week on the 21st.
Now,
if I don't back that in the first hour, I'll be ashamed of myself.
Is it called Viper 2 or
no,
Viper Crimson Dawn?
There's Viper Crimson Dawn. It's kind of like I'm trying to think of like one of those 80s TV series. You can kind of jump in at any issue, and it's
quite right.
It's self-contained. Yeah, you don't need to.
I think we need to do that a bit more in small press, don't we? I think because it takes us so long to churn out issue after issue. I think having that sort of almost like a bond dessinée model, isn't it? Which is what you got with that.
Yeah,
just pick it up and read it, and it's one and done.
Yeah.
I think it's something that they should pay more attention to it just in comics in general. I think.
Yeah, these days, man, definitely.
Yeah,
I read a large chunk of my pull list this week, and I read comics every week. And with a couple of issues, I'm like, "What the fuck is happening now?"
Yeah.
It's part of it's the double-edged sword of some of these titles that we admittedly love. Like when we talk about like independent publishers and stuff, like your Booms and your Aftershocks and stuff, and we love these longer form stories. Like take like the classic Vertigo sort of series where you get like a Scalped or something like that.
Yeah.
Wonderful, amazing. It's brilliant when you see it as a whole or you see it from issue one. But sometimes if you pick up like a third or fourth arc, are those really the ones you can certainly start with the first issue of a new arc.
Yeah.
But what do
They're
you think
not designed to jump in on it.
No.
Now, interestingly, this is something I'm going to discuss in my recommend in a minute.
Okay.
So, yeah, definitely. I think this is something we need to talk about. And writing for the trade is affected by that as well, I think.
It's like starting Breaking Bad, like in season 3. You're just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Sometimes, should we be too worried about it? I mean, no one goes back to the start of Coronation Street and watches it from the episode 1, do they? Do you know what I mean? It's almost a bit like that sometimes.
Yeah, but I guess with those kind of soaps, they just want you to keep coming back, and like ultimately, whatever happens, it's irrelevant that Ian Beale opened up a calf in the first episode. You know what I mean?
I've got nothing left.
Well, hold that thought, because there's definitely something I'm going to ask you about when we get to.
We'll get back to this conversation.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
I think we've referenced EastEnders every once in the show for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
There was a girl at my work who's desperate for a nickname, so we've decided to call her Peggy, and I will not reveal the reason for it.
Okay. Never ask for a nickname like that.
Yeah.
Ask for trouble. I really want a nickname, so I don't.
I say desperate. I think I made the word desperate up, but
she's got it now.
She said, She said, "You've got a nickname, Riptide," because obviously I'm famous now with that name.
Yeah.
But is that all the shout-outs?
I believe so. Yes, that's all I got. You got anything, V?
I have nothing apart from see you on Saturday. BAM.
Yeah, baby. I'm going to be there.
Which will be
arms outstretched, ready to grab you, hold on to you. Yeah.
Are you talking to them or me?
No, you. I won't grab the customers. I ain't them.
Good. I was a bit worried then. This will be probably my last tabling show for quite some time.
Take that back.
It's not to say I'm not going to go to conventions, but I'm not going to table. So this could be like
piggyback me round.
Yeah, totally. I'll probably just
keep on thinking.
Those little old lady sort of like trolleys. I'll just put you in one of
those. Didn't we
see?
Well, let's not name him, but do you remember we saw someone at a convention who had one of those? Those little old lady shopping trolleys. Remember?
There's a London Super Comic Con.
But that's all right. The thing is, you may laugh at it, but if you think about it, it's quite good.
Very functional.
It's pretty good. Yeah,
you're not going to get a girlfriend with one of them, but you might.
Yeah, but saying that, like at some of these events. Anyway, right.
Yeah, moving on.
And moving on, indeed. I think it's time to, seeing as it seems like the recommends are going to have a little bit of a topic with them as well. Let's get into that section of the show. Tony, you've got 2 again.
I have. My first one is the one that I thought we could discuss a little bit. So I'm just going to. I'll tell you what it's about first. So it's The Approach, issue 1. It's written by Jeremy Hahn, I think it is, Jason A. Hurley, and illustrated by Jesus Hervas and Leah Caballero. Coloured by Brett Welldale. Letters by Ed Dukeshire, editor Elizabeth Bray. It's published by Boom Studios, full colour floppy issue, $3.99. I bought this for 2 reasons. One, it's Halloween, so I thought I'm going to buy a horror book, and then trying to read some horror books. We all do, don't we? I think on the run up to Halloween, we always seem to watch the odd movie here and there and stuff. And also, it's got a lot of snow in it, and I love comics about snow. I don't know why. I just love snow in a comic. It appeals to me. This issue is pure setup. I think, and this I'll describe it to you. Then I think I'll describe my attitude going forward in relation to this book. Lovely design. I was showing you. I think you'd gone for a week, Dan, but I was showing you V when I had the cover of it. Don't say.
For anyone listening, Dan's never done that in his life.
No, he never nipped off for a week. But I showed you the cover for it, didn't I, V? And it's the approach. And it's almost like a front view of like a biplane, like a small light aircraft. And in the background, you've got this sort of very gorgeously designed, I'm going to say Cthulhu-esque only because it's a shortcut, but I know it's not. But it's got that sort of weird, from another dimension kind of horror creature thing behind it, succubus kind of thing, with teeth. And amongst it, it's a gorgeous use of white on top of it. I think it's a lot of the work in this, the chops have been down to the colorist with the snow falling as well. Just it's so evocative of the of what it's about. So what is it about? So Mac is a brick shithouse of a dude. He's a firefighter and he's woken up by a phone call from the airport where he works, and he needs to come back in. It's emergency because it's snowing so hard outside. And when he went to bed, he said, "Oh, it was only light snow in it, but it's like really kicking it down." and they need him to come back because there's a plane landing, like a jumbo jet landing. And him and the new firefighter, a girl called Abby, they get into action and they clear the runway. And the staff of the airport prepare for these passengers and crew to land. So you've got this jumbo jet that lands, and it turns out they can't get anywhere. It's so heavy, the snow, that they're stranded at this airport. So they unlock the machine that sells chocolate bars and drinks and stuff, and they say, like, we're going to need some sleeping bags. You're stuck here for the night, sort of thing. But at the same, so you almost like switch and bait it a bit, really. You think, no, that big plane is there's something going on with it. What's that Netflix series that's about the jumbo jet that lands? It's full of vampires. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh God, that's
Red
good.
Something, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's good fun as well. Oh.
Yeah, that's very creepy in it, that one. Yeah, it's almost, there's a touch of that about it. But it's not that plane. And while they're there, this plane comes in really hot. It's like a little biplane, and it doesn't seem to be stopping. It crashes. So they run out to that. The fire brigade guys, they run out. They put the fire out. And throughout this story, you get little looks at each person in the airport. So the bloke who's upstairs directing all the aircraft, he's in a wheelchair. You get a bit about him, so he's going to play a role further in the story. You get this dude who's the cop of the airport, and he's a bit disgruntled because he didn't get promotion, and there's a bit about him. So you get this like little look into everyone. It's almost like as I say, it's a setup issue. It's like an introduction to people issue. And the art is, do you know who Simon Colby is? He did The Vigilant at Rebellion recently. You know his art?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know the name.
Yeah. Reminds me a little bit of that. A little bit scratchier, maybe. Maybe a little bit of Doug Braithwaite there somewhere. I'm a big fan of Doug's work. And I say a lot of the heavy lifting in this is done by can you call just white on a page colouring? I suppose you can. It's done by that. And the flakes are really thick in the air, and it really gives this sort of a theory of being cold, trapped, snowed in. There's that ever pervading something evil in the air. They're stuck in this airport, and there's a final shock page there's a final thing happens. Some might say the only main thing that happens in the book happens on the final page of this. You know what I mean? Right. I've described it in my notes. I was trying to think how I describe it. I think there's not enough on the plate for me, but it's made more palatable what is there by the work that's done on the book. So it's well done, but it's clearly written for the trade. Now, I think going forward, what I will do with this now is I will buy the trade. I'm not going to buy issue 2 because it's $4 a time, which is what, $3.60 or something, $3.80 in this country. So that's what I'm going to do going forward. And I think it speaks to a lot of what we're seeing these days, especially we just had the email through, didn't we, that Diamond are going to stick the prices up again, with the price of the pound. They always seem to stick it up, don't they? It never seems to come down, does it?
No, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so comics are going to become more expensive again. And I feel like this is decompressed storytelling. I mean, I ran you through it, V, didn't I? We were talking. The first page is this dude getting out of bed. Second page, he takes a pill. Third page, he drives into work. Fourth page, he meets a colleague. Fifth page, he speaks to another colleague. It's like, come on, guys.
You got to put your foot down.
It's an expensive thing to buy these days. I need more content than that. The art's lovely, but it's just too slow.
Look back at a fucking Kirby book.
Yeah.
That's just, you have to hang on by the fucking
remember when we did
your fingers.
That's a big read each issue we got, didn't we? We just got one issue each. And I kind of think there's more in an issue of Kirby than there will be in a trade for this, action-wise.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. I actually found it a really enjoyable read, if not a bit sedate. Okay. The design and the art and everything is lovely in it. A couple of bits of dialogue I found a bit clunky, but I don't know, the characters are likable and, fairly realistic and, stuff like that. I just kind of think it's so expensive. We need a bit more bite for our buck these days. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm wondering if the single issues are shipped over. Do they print the trades in this country and then distribute from there, or do they get shipped as well? Because I'm just wondering about the price difference.
Yeah. A lot of stuff doesn't make it to trade. Unfortunately, that's the problem as well now, isn't it?
Is
I think with that thinking in mind, though, if stuff isn't making it to trade, then we all want all the time in the world to tell the stories, but what's what's the point? If there's, like you say, if
you're writing for the trade and the trade's not coming, what's the point?
If I read a first issue where I love the atmosphere, you can like everything about the story. Yeah. But if it's not moving at a decent enough pace, I think we're more in a sort of mindset and market now where people won't go. I can totally understand the drop off in sales between issue 1 and 2 because it's a short attention span world we're in. And if it's like that for movies, for video games, for anything, you're constantly grasping for attention. Comics don't always have it. If it's a graphic novel and you're telling a slow burn, people are going to read it and then they'll be slowly brought into the story. When you've got 20 to 28 pages, say, for an issue, you don't have the running track. You don't have that. You've got to get them from.
It's a weird one. It's a weird one with horror because I think you have to build up the characters to kill them off almost, or to put them at risk. But this is far too much. I mean, just having one page where he takes some tablets.
That thing as well, how much minutes of enjoyment or entertainment do you get out of it?
Oh, it was like 5 minutes and even that is like cutting into I don't get much time every day to read, to read comics, and that seemed to take up where I could have read something, a bit more engaging. Yeah. I don't want to say it's a bad comic because I don't. I think it's actually very well done, but I just think it's a good bit of evidence of where comics have gone recently in some areas. Not in everywhere. I read the new Mark Millar book this week, and it's fucking hell. The amount that happens in that book.
Yeah.
But you say about King of Spies, like that's 4 or 5 issues, and that's all over the world. Tons of stuff happens.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like obviously we're in the spooky month, like with horror storytelling, and I feel. This is the same for movies as well. Like, sometimes we'll watch like an independent horror movie and a lot of the time nothing happens. Apart from like 1 or 2 scenes where that's clearly where the budget was. And you just sort of think, oh, that was rubbish because nothing happened. But
I think comics have been something that comes out every month. You need. It's not like watching a movie. Well, I agree with you what you say about that one, V. But in a movie, you've got the full story. You're going to sit down. You're going to get the full story there and then, aren't you? But these comics, it's like we need something more in that book. I mean, the villain, the creature. I won't spoil it. It appears in the last panel. Yeah. Like, come on, guys. Yeah. Is that it?
And in terms of setting, planting the seeds for the story. For what's coming later. I mean, going back to Let's All Die, that was one of the things we loved about that, is that you got the setup, you got the characters, you got it as well as it having like a cool initial setup.
There's a lot went into that.
That was really well paced.
Really well paced. So, and it still had the stinger at the end, didn't it? It still had that sort of like, right, here's your cliffhanger, here's your the horror moment, see you next time, that kind of thing.
But look what used to happen in a whole issue of Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
The incredible amount of things, Hellblazer, this sort of thing. There's loads that goes on. And I just think this was just too interminably boring. Yeah.
But I think that's why someone like Scott Snyder were like when was it Witches? Yeah. But the first issue of that, the atmosphere was there. It was creepy. You got a sense of and it was like eerie, and it put you back on it, and that's why that book took off.
I wonder why. I wonder what started this trend. It's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of factors to play on there, right? For the trade, undoubtedly being one of them. But I wonder whether the popularity of books like The Walking Dead and maybe Saga, which does drag a little bit. To be fair,
I also think there's a lot of people are influenced by what they watch and the media, and obviously right now, in the zeitgeist, the sort of stories that people like, and I like them too when they're done well. But for instance, like a director like Mike Flanagan, who did like The Haunting of Hill House, and Doctor Sleep and stuff. This slow burn stuff, which is great, but also can be interminably dull if you don't get it.
And don't work in a comic.
Exactly.
Different medium, isn't it?
I mean, I've written possible Netflix pitch in my notes here. But I actually think it's too near to that vampire series.
Do you think the cover's too good for it? Do you think the cover? That sounds a harsh thing to say, but obviously we were talking about how that cover's a lovely design. Do you think the cover's almost?
It's what made me pick it up.
Yeah.
Funny enough, this is really weird. But when I was standing at the shelves, because this was an impulse buy, it wasn't on my pull list.
Okay.
And there was a lady there who's clearly not a comic buyer. And I think she was there with her husband or her son or something elsewhere in the shop. And I picked this, it was sort of in front of her, and I just went, "Oh, excuse me, just grab that." And I grabbed that off, and she went, "Oh, is that good?" And literally I said to her, "Cover's good, looks good, and it impulse buying it." Like that, just until we laughed.
Yeah.
You know, and it was almost me saying, "I just throw my money away in the shop." You know, it's like, it's a bit like that, you know. But that's what I did around this. And to be fair, I don't know whether she did pick it up, but she was just sort of a bit bored, waiting for someone to come and meet her, and sort of scanning through all the titles. And she was just
a good-looking guy.
Yeah, saw a hunky guy in the comic shop. You know, it happens all the time.
Yeah. Why did one walk in?
Must have been someone somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, that's my one anyway, guys. That's my first one, The Approach.
I was going to say, when I don't know about you guys, when I'm reading a comic and I thought this feels like a Netflix pitch, it really puts me off. And it mightn't even be that. I'm just posing that kind of, oh, this feels like a Netflix pitch. It's like, okay. But then I guess you want a high concept comic to get people in.
But I think as well as this feels like a Netflix pitch, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is a Netflix pitch.
Yes.
It almost means, to me, it means like people have all they do is watch fucking Netflix, and they think comics should be written like that. And it doesn't work, you know.
Classic example of that during the week was it a Punisher thing, and they're having like all these heads of these crime families like hiring talking to a hitman over fucking Zoom. So, mate, fucking get out your fucking bedroom. Like
there was a hugely overwritten panel. I think who was it who was looking at it? Our friend who does some editing on the Slack.
Claire.
Claire, yeah, it was Claire, wasn't it? She said just repetitive dialogue in like loads of panels. It was so boring to read them all. And there's a bloke, you know, the world's greatest hitman being hired, and there's 30 people on this screen. Apparently, it's heads of corrupt governments and heads of organised crime groups, all on Zoom and I'm thinking, mate, honestly, you've been fucking stuck in lockdown too long.
Yeah, that's just
on Zoom
ridiculous.
meetings. If you really think that makes any kind of fucking sense,
there's
something wrong with you. You know what I mean?
You've got to do a screen record, and you've literally got everyone in the entire world.
I know. Like, conspiring to murder someone.
Yeah,
you know, it's like really, you know, that just made me laugh. That got quite an interesting response on Twitter. That one.
Yeah, like I pointed out, hitmen, you go to their Twitter bio and you pay them via their Cash App link or whatever it is in their Twitter bio. That's how you hire hitmen. Everyone knows that.
Yeah. All right, good. That's my first one, guys. Who's next?
Right, I fucking jumped on the bandwagon and read Rooster Fighter.
Yeah.
Okay. Shaka Kuratani. And I really enjoyed it. I just fucking absolutely blasted through this. It's so much fun. And he's got... You think how much character can have a rooster have? And it's got it. So it's Rooster
He's the governor, isn't he? He's the governor now. Yeah.
In a world where terrifying monsters walk the earth, one heroic rooster is determined with greatness. When giant demons threaten the innocent, he's going to show them who's boss. The neighborhood cock of the walk is more than just an ordinary rooster. He's humanity's greatest defender. His opponents may be 10 stories tall, but he's nothing bigger than his stout heart and his fearsome battle cry, cock-a-doodle-doo. And across the books in this, he's fighting these huge monstrosities. It's a bit like the Littlest Hobo in a way. He sort of turns up in the story where
the cracking theme tune.
Like a situation's playing out, and then he kind of gets involved and helps resolve it. And at the end of the story, he kind of moves on to the next setup.
But it's slowly building up.
Yeah, it's kind of building up. He's after the one that took his sister, and
it's definitely one of my favorite books of the year.
It's probably my favorite manga for the last few months. Yeah. Well, I thought you were going to talk about another bird-related book. I thought you were going to talk about ducks.
I've not yet finished that.
Book?
Yeah, I've been reading that. Right, I've not yet finished that. I'm really enjoying that.
I've heard that's good.
Yeah, I'm very impressed. I was reading it as I was kind of on the train into work, and there's moments where she's like, where she's working, she has to get the bus at like 1 a.m. in Canada, and it's fucking freezing. And it's like, I was feeling cold reading it. I was just like, fucking hell.
See, comics are snowing. They're good.
Yeah.
Just a quick one, and as an aside, read Fantastic Four Full Circle, guys, if you get a chance.
Yeah, honestly, I think I might put. I'll see what I might put on the list good. Now.
Yeah, really good. Sorry, guys.
That's right. That's me.
Yeah,
go read Rooster Fighter.
Just a quick one for me. I've got a couple of books that I'm kind of reading at the moment, but I don't want to sort of say anything until I've finished reading them, because otherwise I won't know what I'm talking about. So I want to share, with the Inktober being what it is, and a few people do it. Well, someone who
yes.
always does a great Inktober is our pal Dan Harris.
They've been crackers. I was chatting to him on the Slack about it earlier. Yeah.
Follow Art of Dan Harris on Instagram because his Inky is the character, which usually ends up collecting as well.
Yeah, he is going to. He said he's going to. Yeah.
Yeah. They're always the Inktober's are always really clever, sometimes childish, sometimes thought provoking, but every single one of them is great. And like, you should just follow Dan's work anyway, because he's great. He's got a proper sort of. He's a brilliant cartoonist, and he's like an 80s nerd kid like us all. Well, apart from Tony, because unless you're talking the 1880s.
60s.
Yes, but definitely follow Dan's stuff, because it's one of those Instagram posts that I always stop to read it every time.
Yeah, it's good. They're always good. Yeah, the armadillo one made me laugh.
Yeah. And so, Tony, what's the last one?
Okay, so my final one is the king. One for you, Vince, actually. The King of Cats, a traditional folk tale retold, written and art by Paul Tonner. And there is a Scottish translation of this, which he's done as well, which is done by Dr. Dempster. It's partly funded by grants from the Scottish Government and the Scottish Book Trust, according to the back cover. And there's a nice little dedication to all the cats that Paul has owned, looked after, and by name in the back of it, which I thought was a nice little touch. The cover is pretty astonishing, actually. It's hard to tell whether it's like a really well-made photorealistic drawing of a cat with big white glowing eyes and a crown, or if it's actually like a manipulated photograph. Does that make sense? I'll send you it in a minute, actually. I really liked it. And it's a ginger cat with a crown, sort of Elizabethan courtier's kind of jacket on, and these weird sort of staring eyes. The inside cover again is colour again, and it's almost like a throne room for the King of Cats. Lovely art. But instantly very different from the interior comic pages, which are black and white and much more traditional pencil and inked over line, that sort of thing. But in different ways, very striking. I think I was thinking about this earlier. I think we're used to now the cover art being different from the interior art, aren't we? It's something. I remember we sort of spoke about it a bit in the first couple of years of the podcast, because it was more common back then for the cover to be done by the interior artist. But what with the likes of variant covers and different cover artists and covers, Batman issues sometimes are just saved for years, aren't they? And then used. I think I'm kind of used to it. I don't think it really irks me. What about you guys? Is that a problem for you, or
the alternate cover or like a
cover done by someone else?
The cover art doesn't represent.
Yeah.
I've been not done, but I've picked the comic up thinking, fucking look at this. And then I looked in the interiors and went, oh. And that's worked in the inverse way, and as in that's put me off. If the cover is completely radically different, and it's like, oh no, it's not.
Yeah, I think especially if the interiors aren't as good as the cover, but they can be different, but good. They can be different,
ways. But like sometimes when there's a gulf between them, it's like, oh no way.
I'm fine with it being different as long as it's good. I think is the way I look at it. Do you know what I mean? And what about you, V?
Yeah, it's when it's almost misleading, really, in terms of I mean, I always sort of compare it to like when you're at a convention. You walk past a small press table. How many times we picked up a cover and thought, "That's awesome." Open it up and then go,
"Oh, how do I put this down again?"
Yeah, I think obviously when you go, if you're the Wednesday Warrior or you go in the weekly comic book store, it's an easier thing to do, isn't it? Pick up and go. This is.
I've been done. I had a big haul this week, and let me just say the Flash movie tie-in issue done me completely immediately. As soon as I opened it, when I got to the coffee shop afterwards, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's a bit like that.
Yeah. But if the interiors are amazing, or like if the reading of the book is great, it's fine. But it's always proof is in the pudding, isn't it? By the time you finish it.
And the interiors are really good on this. So the benefit of it being different is it was nice on this one. It's the black and white line work. Paul does great faces. There's loads of personality in the faces he draws. And this opens with an old man. He's running past a church. He's the local grave digger, and he looks like he's frightened. So he's legging it through town. He busts in on his equally elderly wife and their cat. They're sitting there sort of talking to each other. or she's petting the cat, and she accuses him immediately of being drunk. And he tells her that he's not, and he's been at work as usual in the graveyard digging a grave. And then we get the flashback to what happened, why he's frightened. And he was drinking. He was just a bit pissed whilst digging this grave. And he hears some what he describes as tiny footsteps, and he jumps into the grave to hide. And he looks over the grave, and what it is, in the moonlight, he can see a parade of cats, all dressed in sort of tailcoats and top hats and fancy dresses and all manner of cats, he says. Fat, skinny, fluffy and scruffy. Pretty cats, ugly cats, dirty cats, and fancy cats. And I thought that was a lovely way to put it, really nice. And what they are doing there, I will leave for you to buy it, because I think it's worth it. It's a really nice story, and it's got that sort of old folktale thing going on about it. Well worth a read. There's a strange sort of cats are unusual unusual horror characters suddenly, which has a sort of quirky creepiness to it. And Paul does well in both, as I said, in both the human faces, but also in the faces of the cats. There's one moment, I can't spoil it, but there's one moment at the end you think, oh, I didn't see that going that quite so lively. But yeah, really good. And everything plays out in the reactions of the characters in the comic. There's not many. There's a small cast in it. But he excels in that work, I think. It's about time I saw another comic from Paul. I speak to him occasionally on social media, and I've always enjoyed his previous stuff. But you can find him if you go to www.paultonner, Paul, then TONNER. So paultonner.co.uk. On Instagram, you can find him at paultonner_, which is where I talked to him about this, and he sent through the Dropbox and everything. I'll forward it to you in a minute, guys. But he sent me the English version, and he sent me the Scottish version, the translation as well, which is nice, a nice thing to see, especially as it belongs to that country, the folktale. But yeah, another good one. There you go.
Oh, nice one. Yeah.
Nice. So plenty of interesting and diverse stuff to check out this week, as always. We hope you have enjoyed this week's episode and all the nonsense and fun that we talk about in the name of comics. Is there anything we spoke about that you wanted to throw in your 5 cents, or perhaps put us right?
Yeah.
Because we just rant and rave about stuff. There's several different ways. And also, if you have a comics event or something that is happening, no matter where it is in the world, I know we're based in the UK.
Let us know. We'll give it a pimp.
Yeah, we'll give it a shout out.
But if you've got something local to you, wherever you are in the world, please let us know about it, and we'll put a shout out. Because you never know who's listening, he says, looking over his shoulder. And there's several different ways to do it. You can email us awesomecomicspod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter @TheAwesomePod, where we'll be posting about comics, retweeting about great comic events, and just spreading the positivity of comics. If you do the Book of Faces, go to facebook.com/awesomecomicspodcast. Join the community group on there, Awesome Comics Talk, which is full of great people, as is the Awesome Comics Podcast Slack group, full of lots of different channels and conversations. Get in touch with us, get involved. And
if you want to know what conventions are like, everyone who goes to them posts pictures and little hauls and what they thought of it and how good sales were and what the guests were like. And who's it? I think we've just got one from the Lakes, actually, which is really good. I think is it.
Oh, there you
go.
Yeah, it was. Here we go. Rob Hardingham. He sent us a picture of him with Mick McMahon getting something signed. And Rob has got quite a porn star moustache on the go. I'd like to say.
Lovely. And we can't undersell this. It is an open and welcoming community there.
It is.
We don't put up with any shit or it's all about.
And it's
positivity.
free. Yeah.
So please join us to talk about comics and just your joy of it and what we should be reading, because we want to know about stuff like this as well. Thank you for listening to us, whether it was on the website awesomecomics.podbean.com. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, leave a review, all of that good stuff. That's what the cool kids do these days. And they also listen on networks like Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, Podnose, Podknife. What are the networks we on, Tony?
We're on Pod, the dildo of consequence, rarely arrives lubed.
But when it arrives, you know.
Bigger than a betting shop pen.
That's a callback.
I saw that quote on Twitter this week. It made me laugh, so I thought I'd put that one in.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, dear. So where can people find us online, etc., gents? Tony?
Neveronanything.com. There you go, easy.
Lovely. Dan?
I'll be on Twitter @Vanguard Comic, and you can read Vanguard at vanguardcomic.com. Obviously, I'm going to be annoying people with loads of Kickstarter links once Viper Crimson Dawn goes live.
Yeah.
And if you don't back
Patreon
it in the next
as well.
hour, you're dead to us.
Join his Patreon because there's loads of behind the scenes stuff on his.
Oh,
Patreon.
cheers!
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, do that as well.
I did post up a meme earlier in this week that I just found on my phone about Kickstarter, and everyone was like, "Was this me?" I was like, "No." So I was literally going through my phone and thought, "Oh, look at this! It's quite funny," and reposted it. I wasn't talking about anyone.
Just absolutely throwing shade left, right, and centre.
It's that one with the Star Wars prequels.
Oh, you keep saying something to the
Yeah, and he said, "I'm going to post about my Kickstarter." She's like, "What?
Not every day, right?"
And then it's
Not
him looking
every day,
back,
right?
Not every day, right?
Oh dear! You can find me on social media at Jester Diablo. I'm attempting to do an Inktober this year. So.
Yeah, you're going to collect them.
Mate, you're smashing it.
I asked you on Twitter, are you going to collect them?
I don't know. Well, the thing is, I've collected stuff before, and no one gives a toss. So, but
It's never mattered to us before, is it?
That's true. Follow me though, and you'll see. Because I wrote my own list. I posted it too late, actually. With these sort of things, you kind of need to post these lists well in advance. But I pretty much did it on the day it started, I think. And because it's the spooky month, rather than like the monsters and stuff, I'm trying to draw likenesses of horror actors. So,
yeah, nice work, man.
And actresses and so on. And I'm having fun doing it. So it's good. And also, if you look at the list, you might discover some gems that you didn't know about before. For instance, how many of you people out there know who Dwight Fry is? You fucking well should, because it's one of the greatest horror performances of all time. And you might Dwight Fry, I'll tell you.
What's he in?
I'll tell you in a second. He's absolutely unhinged. It's wonderful. But thank you, lovely people, for listening to us this week. We really, really appreciate it. Come back next week for more of the same joy and nonsense, and we'll some of you may have some of our books next week. You never know.
Yeah.
And you may be telling people, don't go anywhere near them.
Yeah, leave them. They're dangerous.
You taking any pictures, V? If someone comes up and gives you a 45-minute pitch from a comic book, then
I'll be filming it from a distance.
I don't take those pictures. Someone else takes those pictures. Yeah.
I'll be going, trying to leave, and then leaving them with them. Yeah.
But if anyone wants a selfie with me, don't.
No.
No, I'm the smiling face of the podcast.
Yeah.
You're the happy face of it, aren't you?
No plate for my sandwich.
Yeah.
More.
but
and Andrew Hempel messaged me about this week.
We're fucking milking fuck out that joke.
But Tony is the one who truly loves each and every one of you. I mean, Dan, I love the listeners. You know that. Dan, you love the listeners as well, don't you?
Lot of love.
But does anyone love the listeners as much as Tony does, Dan? Do they?
Everyone fucking does.
But Tony's got a lot of love in his heart.
I love in my pants.
Very little for the listeners, though, I fear.
Yeah.
That's for Lorraine Kelly.
Yeah. But just don't be scared if you see him. Just don't feed him after 11 o'clock or get him wet.
Well, get me wet, baby. You can get me wet.
And I think we'll sign off around there. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Have a brilliant week. Read loads of comics, make loads of comics. From Dan, Tony, and myself. I think over the next 7 days, I don't know, what should they do, guys?
Stay awesome.
That's wonderful. That's
Fucking
of the best it's been.
Yeah.
I just had a good tweet coming along my timeline, so I sent it on to you.
Let's do another hour. Come on.
That's great for the listeners. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I thought we'd gone.
No. No, say goodbye, Dan. We can't go until
See you later.
Goodbye.
See you later.
Bye.